What is up, geeks and geekettes? Happy New Year, everybody! It's another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me is the man, the myth, the legend. You know him as JC.
Hey everybody, I'm actually JC, the one in the corner here. You realize this steady has my name on it for some reason? Just realized that right now. Don't know how that happened.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
You know where we
makes
don't have this problem?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. We also got the man behind the magic. You know him as Joe Garcia.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope everybody has an amazing upcoming year. Good things are going to happen for everyone. Let's go into it with a positive outlook, unlike some of our top 5 list.
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
Very
And last
of you.
And last but never the least, my partner in crime, you know him as Matty B. That guy right here.
I can't wait to talk about this today. In fact, we're going to get into it later, but I didn't love everything that came out this year. But there were some things that I did. There's some things that I liked that came out that I liked. Okay. Nothing blew my mind last year, though. I'm just going to start it there.
There you go. There you go.
Now,
What he's
without
referring
shock,
to,
Maddie didn't like everything. That's a shocker.
if he was Rob, he wouldn't have liked anything from last year. But what he's referring to is this is going to be our 2002 year in review stream. If you're in the chat, say what's up. Happy New Year to you and your family. And in case you missed us before, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as well. Hope it was a blessed, happy one for you guys. But we're going to be talking today about our favorite movies of 2022, maybe what our favorite series was of last year. And then later on in the show, we're also going to play a CCG game that I like. I hope you guys like it too. So a segment that is returning to the Geekcast. Can't wait for that. But first,
Great.
as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about the our top films of 2022. And we're going to go ahead and start with JC first. So, JC, I'm going to pull up your top 5 movies of 2022. And I would like for you, sir, to go ahead and go down the list and not explain yourself, but give a little bit of a context around why you chose the 5 you did. So here we
Well, I
go.
chose the 5 I did. First of all, I only chose the 5 because I only saw 6 movies last year. It was a very busy year for me.
He's a busy man.
Yeah, so based on the off this list, I'll preface this by saying number 5 was Black Adam. Number 4, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
The Last Witch.
I like the Last
Wish.
The sequel.
Barely
coming soon.
edged out by Sonic 2 as the amazing movie, but Puss in Boots is definitely one of the best animated films I've seen in a long time. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was number 2, and then number 1, Top Gun: Maverick. And I remember there's actually a 7th movie I saw. The only 2 movies I didn't see that didn't make this list are Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Hocus Pocus 2. That's
Very nice, very nice.
So, but yeah, Top Gun: Maverick, and I know it's nominated for Best Picture or the Golden Globes, and might probably win it, Oscar too. It was an amazing film, and I've watched it at least 2 or 3 times since it showed up on Paramount Plus too. It's an awesome film. So,
Is it already on Paramount?
Yeah, it was on Paramount Plus, yes, sir. So
that's pretty cool. I actually did not know that. I was waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, it's I've definitely tuned into it a few times as well. Paramount Plus speak about that, has really stepped up its game in the streaming universe. Paramount Plus has a lot of really good content.
Yes, and update on that: Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will be on Disney Plus, I believe, January 20th is the date they gave. So
wow, that's quick. Yeah. It took forever for the Spider-Man movie to come out on streaming, so that's pretty quick turnaround for Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that one came out strictly on Stars too. So
that's Sony.
Yeah,
so, yeah. So that's my list. Not a lot for me to watch this last year.
Well, we're glad you at least got those in. And did you not see the Batman? That wasn't.
I know it is on HBO Max, and I have not found a whole 3 some hours for me to sit down and watch it.
Wow,
It's been
that's
that busy of a year
crazy.
for me. Yeah, even when I have
Wow.
time off from work, I'm still busy. It's been nuts. So
It has been a crazy. It
softball
was a
coach life. Yeah.
yeah, very busy year for you, man.
Mhm.
Top Gun Maverick, which actually was the highest grossing movie of 2022, 1.3 something billion, I believe. And as of today, Avatar 2 should actually edge it out. So Maverick is about to be the second highest grossing film of last year. Avatar 2, which came out right before the end of the year, should edge
Mhm.
it out today and surpass 1.4 billion worldwide. So big numbers from both of these films. One of
Yeah.
them a film that was a sequel, 30 some odd years later, and the other one which felt like a sequel 30 years later, but it was only like 12 or 13, right? Whatever it was.
As you failed to mention that when those 30 some odd years later, it shouldn't have been that long because it would have come out years before. But you know, thanks COVID, so we had to wait even longer.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Listen, if you're in the chat, we want to hear from you as well. What's your top five look like? Drop those movies in the chat while we go through our list, and we'll see what you guys got as well. Joe, you are next, sir. Why don't you go ahead and call out your top five for us?
Well, my top five, my number one was Top Gun Maverick. Number two was Avatar The Way of Water. Three, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Four, Prey. And five was Wakanda Forever.
Very nice. Solid list, sir. Solid list.
I got to see more
Uh,
movies than that, but I think these were probably the top five of, in my opinion, of 2022. Unfortunately for me, I do have some honorable mentions, but we're not going to get into that. That's going to be a podcast for another time. But one
We'll
of
be
the
here a
biggest
while.
disappointments, which one of our fellow Geekcasters has in their top five, for me was the Multiverse of Madness. But to each his own. I mean, we have somebody here that didn't like She-Hulk, and I thought it was a faithful rendition of the comic book.
Hmm.
we got different preferences here, and that's
Yes, sir.
no
That we do.
shame in that. No shame in that whatsoever.
Yep.
Why is Maverick on the top of your list? What does Maverick what made it come out on top for you last year, Joe?
Well, I think it was just harken back to the old school way of doing things in Hollywood, where it's practical, not so much that they relied so much on CGI. They had cameras in the cockpit with these guys, the actors, as they were actually flying these F-18s, and it made a big difference. Just seeing all the cinematography and the way that it was shot and storyline showing some of the older actors coming back and being able just to pick right up where they left off. And I thought it was just a really good storyline in the way that it had a lot of closure and a lot of special moments there, a lot of nods to the first film. And in fact, I thought it surpassed the first film as far as what it was able to deliver. So that was a tall order to say the least, but
Yeah.
they delivered, and it was a great movie. In my opinion, it was a top movie for me of 2022.
Fantastic. Maddie B, you are up next, sir, and your list looks a little like Joe's. Couple of different films in there, but why don't you go down
Uncrucial
your
change.
list?
Yeah, so Everything Everywhere All at Once to me was a masterclass in filmmaking. They fit a lot of things into a small time frame. And I always go back to one of the reviews that I saw on IMDb from African Bro, who's a big time reviewer on that site. But he said it was like if Jackie Chan was a female Doctor Strange. That's kind of how this movie kind of goes through. It is everything everywhere all at once. The title of the movie matches it. The stylization of it. I thought, to me, this was the best movie of the year. It doesn't necessarily mean it's my favorite. I just think that this is the best movie that came out this year. Two for me was Prey. I A tall task in sort of trying to revitalize this franchise. And there's a lot of questions about how that would be received. And I thought Prey executed so well. They number two on my list because of what was in front of them, what they had to accomplish, and doing it in a way that was completely entertaining. The kill scenes were incredible. I can't wait. I want to see Predator in different time eras. It would be so cool to see him in Roman times and cowboy western times or anything else. So I love what Prey started there. So number two is Prey for me. Top Gun Maverick number three. I know this is a lot of people's favorites of the year. It did do great at the box office. I'm not the biggest Top Gun guy in the world. It was a lot of whooshy whooshy planes flying through. It's cool. I can see how it was a great cinematic experience, but not the best movie per se. So I gave that number three there. Number four is Multiverse of Madness. I love the horror elements that they sort of added in. There were times where it got a little bit scary and a little bit dicey, a little bit off Marvel brand, in my opinion. I really had fun in that movie, and so I give that a number four. And then number five was Wakanda Forever. They did the best that they could with the passing of Chadwick Boseman and trying to set up a new story and a way to go about it. I thought that certain elements didn't sit right with me per se, but I still thought it was an incredible movie. Some of the moments in there were so touching. When you talk about dropping tears, I mean, I dropped a few tears during this movie. So Wakanda Forever gets the number five. What almost edged that out, though, was the
Oh,
Batman. The Batman
ah,
almost edged it out. We're just talking about honorable mentions. First watch of the Batman is great. It didn't crack the top five because it does not have rewatch value. It doesn't hold up on a rewatch. It's great. I'm glad Matt Reeves made it, but it doesn't hold up to the rewatch. So just was edged out of the top five.
yeah, and I can't argue with you there because you and I talked before we started the stream. I've only seen it twice, and that was when it came out, and I haven't had the real urge to kind of revisit it. It's beautifully shot, and it's a very compelling story, but there's not a lot that you're kind of invested in as an audience goer, movie goer. So yeah, no, I kind of see where you're coming with regarding that.
And Jurassic World, World Dominion, Gunner
Gonna
Parker has it as the number one. I'm just like, to each his own, man. But in my opinion, that
Yeah.
was one of the worst
Yeah, well,
films that came out.
that's my cousin Gunner, and he's a big cinephile, but he does love Jurassic Park movies. If
Man,
it has a Jurassic Park logo on it, it's his favorite thing in the world.
I
I
get
would
it.
agree, though, not a good movie, but again, it's to each their
Each
own.
his own. Well, just like you like the Multiverse of Madness, and I mean,
Yeah,
I appreciated the horror elements that they put into it, but it just overall just felt that it was overhyped and just lacking a little bit. But hey, to each his own. You enjoyed it thoroughly, so good for
yeah.
you.
And we should almost have done top five shows because I feel like we all of us watch more shows than we do movies.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so that's another interesting kind of thing to talk about there
I
too. But
already know, Maddie, your worst show of 2022 on top of the list is going to have to be She-Hulk.
no, it's not the worst. I promise you.
Willow,
Number one TV
Willow.
show, His Dark Materials. Let me write that down right now.
Oh, all right,
Uh,
all right. I will ask you, gentlemen, what your top show is. I don't want to go through a list, but just your one top show, maybe three, top two, top three. I
His
don't.
Dark
It could take forever. Well,
Materials,
not now,
Superman
not
and
now, not now.
Lois, and I think of the third. Those are my top two.
Gunner goes on saying number two, the Batman, three, Maverick, four, Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, a lot of the hits that we were also depicting. There's one Geekcaster who wanted to be on the show, but he did send in his list. Jericho, who sent in his top five of 2022. A little different than everybody else's, but number one, Everything Everywhere, All at Once. If you haven't seen it, it is quite a spectacle. I will say that. There's not really any solid way to explain what it is, but it's just fantastic. Number two, Prey. Three, The Batman. Four, The Atom Project, which I will be very honest, I haven't seen yet. And five, Turning Red, which was a fantastic Pixar film. Quite entertaining as well. You guys see either The Atom Project or Turning Red?
I didn't see either one.
I
My
have not.
kids watched Turning Red. My wife did too. I haven't seen it.
I heard Atom Project was good. I just never got around to seeing it. And I just wasn't compelled. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't something that I was kind of gravitating towards, really. Gunnar also says for a TV show, I would probably say that Wednesday was probably the best one. Wednesday would be on the top of a lot of folks' lists, and I would not argue with them whatsoever. I was highly entertained by Wednesday from start to finish,
White
and
Lotus season 2, best show of the year.
I'm starting with season 1 right now. I'm waiting for it to get good. I hope it happens soon because I am bored. I am bored
Really?
with
It's
season 1. Yeah.
it's a thinker though. It's not, you can't be on your phone because Ted. We all know you. You don't really sit in front of something. When you're sitting there, you got Liana running around. You're on your
You've
phone,
seen the White
texting and
Lotus.
doing
You
stuff.
can't have you can't have the infant while
You
White
can't do
Lotus
all
is
that
on.
well and take the get the show in the way it's supposed to be. 1923 that just came out though. 1923 actually might take over for me. White Lotus is the best TV, but we won't finish that until next year. So great
Yeah,
TV though.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1923, which I actually assume I will love. Um, great cast, great cast. All right, let's get to my top 5 here.
Yeah. I was going to say
Steady.
something real quick though. My
Go for
top
it,
two
Joe.
shows
Go
that I
for it.
really enjoyed, streaming shows. I know JC enjoyed them too. I enjoyed Picard and Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. They were both fantastic.
They were, yes, for sure, for sure. So Picard last season's coming up too. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Bittersweet, man. I enjoyed it. It was really good.
yeah.
Got
Strange New
love the
World was that?
Trekkies.
What's
Strange
up?
New World was that the? I thought there was a different Star Trek series that everybody was raving about.
Lower Decks, that one's great too. Um, no, Strange New Worlds is it's like a spin-off of Discovery, but it also serves as a
That's right.
prequel to the original series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
it kind of doubles as both. So it's amazing. It's really good. You get to kind of see the crew that had the Enterprise before Kirk took it over. It's pretty awesome. So,
Okay, so my daughter's gonna crash the stream real
hello,
quick.
little lady.
Say
Hi,
hi to
Liana.
everybody.
Hi, Liana.
She's had quite an eventful week because of New Year's and Christmas last week. All right, go lay down.
Yeah.
Okay, so now back to my top 5. Pretty close to all you gentlemen, but one major difference I think. So Steady's top 25. Starting off with Avatar: The Way of Water. I'll get back to that in a second. Number 2, Top Gun Maverick. Number 3, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Number 4, Wakanda Forever. And number 5, Nope. The reason why Nope makes my top 5 is because I went into it blind. I didn't want to know anything about it, and it was so compelling. The story was fantastic. The visuals, just how original the story was. So it makes my top 5 for that reason. I was like thoroughly engaged from start to finish. Now, Top Gun Maverick, I'm not gonna lie to you, gentlemen. When I watched Top Gun Maverick, and I also saw it twice, the second time was probably one of my best movie going experiences ever. I watched it in the D box seats. If you've never been in a D box chair, it is the mechanical moving chair that moves along with what's happening on the film. Never in the history of cinema will there be a better experience in a D box seat than Top Gun Maverick. I'm willing to call that out right now because it was just so incredible. It was jolting us every time the camera would take off, the plane would take off the jet on the runway, like your seat would like thrust you back, like you're actually moving forward along. It was just so great, and I really thought nothing's gonna top this. Then came Avatar: The Way of Water, and that movie was just I was so invested from like 5 minutes in. I was invested in everything, in every single character. It was so emotional. It was action packed. It was 10 hours, but it felt like two and a half. Avatar, James Cameron. I will never doubt James Cameron again. I thought like you told your story the first time, like nobody's gonna want to see it a second time. I was one of those people. Dead wrong. Avatar: The Way of Water is just incredible. It looks beautiful. It's written incredible. Um, I
Yeah. I
yeah, it
wanted
was
to
just
see it.
amazing.
I wanted to see it. I still haven't seen it. I would, from what I've heard from a lot of my friends, it would be in my top 5. And Nope is another one of those movies that a lot of my friends have been like, you got to get this. It's got to be in your top five. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen either of those two movies. I love Jordan Peele. So anything that he does, I think is awesome. Get Out was amazing. So, and I heard that Nope was incredible. So it's a good top five there. Good top five there, Ted.
Yeah.
Thank you,
The Nope
appreciate
is
that.
now streaming on Peacock.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes, it is.
I need to, I need to just dive in and watch it. I love Jordan Peele.
Yeah. I think I was probably one of the first ones to watch that movie. I think out of the group, I think Ted watched it. I think after I did,
Probably so. Yeah.
and I didn't ruin it for anybody. I just said it was very intriguing and very unique. I knew Ted would like it.
It was, and I was really in the mood and need to watch something different around that time. We had been watching sequel after sequel, comic book sequel after
Marvel.
comic book sequel, and I was, all the series that we were watching around that
Yeah.
time. So I was just like, I need to see
You know,
something extremely different and get away from everything else. And a good horror movie, like a good mystery sci-fi thriller, and it checked all those boxes. And even when um tension, like uh not Once Upon a what's that movie where they can't talk or say anything? Quiet Place. A Quiet
Hmm.
Place was probably the movie where you felt the most tension during a scary movie, right? Because it's quiet, like you can't say nothing, like everybody in the theaters like trying to be quiet so they can hear what's going to happen. Nope has some of the most tension, anxiety inducing scenes in like movie history. There's one scene, I'm not going to talk about it because it kind of gives me a little anxiety thinking of it. But there's this one like flashback scene where something's happening. And oh my God, you're just like on the edge of your seat, like your skin's curling, like your nails are digging into the chair. Like there's just so much tension. It was a roller coaster ride. So yeah, Nope.
That's
Nope
awesome.
was incredible.
And especially for scary movies, because I love that. Like one of my favorite scary movies is The Strangers. And The Strangers had a lot of big tension building in that too. Where you're just worried to death about what's going to happen next. So I love it when they sort of bring you into the environment that way and sort of keep you in that state of suspense, if you will. Can we ask who had of all the major studios this year, who had the worst year?
what do you think, JC?
Lucasfilm, DC, or Marvel?
Doesn't DC get
Mm,
that trophy every year? Like, I'm not trying to.
I don't know. I
for
mean,
the way they handled the
Lucasfilm blew Kenobi. I mean, how do you blow that?
Did they?
It's not a good.
No, come on.
oh, Kenobi was great, dude.
Kenobi finished
No,
great.
Kenobi.
Yeah,
It finished well.
Kenobi was
Kenobi was
great.
incredibly bad. It, the,
Oh
it had
man,
good scenes. I mean, that the scene of Kenobi and Anakin standing face to face and finally having that conversation. Yeah, that's incredibly powerful. But
JC's ready to say this show's over.
it was
Just
the
let him
Riva.
go.
It was the Riva show. It was the Riva show. And they added in a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't need to add in at all when the fans only came there to see Kenobi and Anakin. They blew that. They started the year with a Book of Boba Fett. Terrible. They
That's
I mean
terrible.
Lucasfilm did not have a great year. Marvel had a lot of crap. A lot of people are pushing back on the Phase 4 stuff. And now the DC thing, who
I've learned to just appreciate that this stuff is getting made because when I was a kid, I never thought I would ever see it. If you're looking at who's had the worst year, I'm going to look at it from the higher ups, and that's DC, how they've handled all this, how they pushed back on people wanting to see the rest of the Snyderverse, which the money was fucking there. Like you could have just done that. You could have continued on with what you were doing. And I mean, yes, James Gunn's coming in wants to do a different thing, but why not let Snyder finish his vision and come from there? It is weird to say that considering DC also gave us Peacemaker at the beginning of the year, which was awesome. So, but I think what it is that it was such a how do I say this? It's such a bipolar mood or mood swing for them to just completely change how they just went. Yeah, we're bringing Henry Cavill back. Yeah, we're just gonna let everybody go. and that just rubbed people the wrong way. And it's very different from when Sony decided to do a reboot. Like it's you said you're going to do one thing and then just change your mind, and can't do that. So I want to say they'd have the worst year, at least from a higher up decision making standpoint.
Don't be mad at me, Sony, but Sony came out with Morbius, and oof,
I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, that was a
oof,
stinker.
Yeah.
Morbius is bad.
oof.
But Sony spent half the year living off of No Way Home hype. So, I mean, which I know came out 2021, but still, and let alone the reaction to the Across the Spider-Verse trailers that we've seen. So, yeah.
Morbius
Yeah.
would have been a sleeper hit if it came out in the early 2000s, but yeah, not in
Ooh.
2022.
Yeah.
It's one of the only movies I know of that flopped twice. Morbius flopped twice.
On streaming and in the theater.
Wow.
No, it got released twice in theaters.
It got released twice in theaters. It flopped
because
twice.
it was hashtag Morbid time that brought it back, right?
It's morbid time.
Wow.
Man.
They were like,
man.
they're trending. Let's throw it back in theaters and see what happens. And it was like $5,000 more. It was crazy. It was insane.
Thanks.
Never. Unprecedented. Yeah, it was insane. I can't think of anything else Sony did last year, and don't be mad at me, Sony. I still love Ghostbusters, but yeah, they came out with the Morbius movie and
Minions.
not much else. I never got around to it, so I apologize.
Gru.
Yeah,
that was good.
Let's talk about top series. I know I kind of mentioned we might talk about this before, but honestly, on the top of my list, I'm pretty sure it was last year, was Stranger Things. Stranger Things was a global event, and they did the whole two-part thing, like part 1, part 2, and I was like, I thought part 1 you had your best moments, and I thought like, they really can't get any better than this. Dead wrong again. Part 2 of Stranger Things, which I think came out in the summer or early summer, was just incredible. So compelling, so many amazing moments, and the fact that they didn't try and stick to a timely format. The episodes were separated um according, based on what the writers and the showrunners wanted to put forward, and they weren't trying to keep episodes under an hour or anything like that. They just let it go and let the story, tell itself. Stranger Things was by far my favorite series to watch in 2022. What about you guys?
Mine were probably going to be Star Wars related. Like I had said already, I enjoyed
Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek. I enjoyed, Strange New Worlds. I enjoyed Picard quite a bit. Discovery, and as far as DC, I mean not DC, but Disney goes, I enjoyed Moon Knight. I like Kenobi. Uh, Andor was kind of hit or miss for me. Miss Marvel was enjoyable. It was a little bit different, geared towards more of the teen, I think, dynamic, but it was still fun to watch. But another one, of course, was House of the Dragon. Really enjoyed watching House of the Dragon. Rings, it paid off in the end, but it was tough to get through, man. But same thing with She-Hulk. If you like the comic books, you're gonna love the series, and I liked it. I dug it, but the ending was a little rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Fourth wall stuff is always fun, though. So
yeah, it was, and that's exactly what that show was all about. Mindless fun. It's not to be taken seriously at all.
Gunner says that there's been some rumors that Toby, Andrew, and Tom might appear in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but it could also be the next sequel that they do as well. The Marvel rumors are everywhere. I've heard that you're gonna get some Spider-Man in the Avengers film, the first one.
I figured that, but I would almost
Secret Wars. Sorry,
I almost expect Toby, Andrew, and Tom to appear in Across the Spider-Verse, or at least whatever they're going to call the second one. Obviously, they originally said Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, but when they put the last trailer out, they dropped the Part 1. So I think they're still making 2 movies, but they're probably changing the name of the second one. But I mean, we kind of got a snippet, like a little cameo of the video game Spider-Man in that quick shot, Across the latest trailer. So I wouldn't doubt if they bring everybody in here. It would make sense. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I also know that they've been putting in other animated Spider-Man show characters in the posters and stuff. Everybody's talking about Spectacular Spider-Man, which they
Mhm.
believe is in the poster for this next film, which is huge. I just kind of expect them to throw everybody in there, and no one's gonna hate that. Everybody's gonna love it. So why not? Definitely. Sony's figuring it out, right? They figured it out with No Way Home. It's like just give the fans what they want. They love Toby, they love Andrew, they love Tom. Put them all in there. It would be insane if they didn't bring back all those three guys in another scene or scenario or a storyline. I'm sure we all have to see it. I think that's the only reason why they didn't kill Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker in No Way Home, and because I thought like for sure one of them was going to go, and I had my money on Toby just because he's the oldest one, and it would have been a compelling ending to his Parker, but they kept him around, which just means they will bring him back, and that's the only reason why I think you keep him alive. Otherwise, like you get stabbed in the back by Green Goblin, you're gonna die. Like it's just gonna happen. He's gonna make sure you're not gonna walk away from that. So yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for them
Um,
to drop Spider-Man 2099. I want to see that in a live action film.
In a live action, oh boy, that's gonna be
that
interesting.
that would be interesting for
I
sure.
mean, he's already highly anticipated in the next one for sure. So.
Pax is in the chat. What's going on? See back into the Spider Verse. Maybe second will be out of the Spider Verse. LOL. Oh man, JC, what is your favorite series of 2022?
Easily his Dark Materials. I said that from the top. Season 3 was amazing. Much anticipated. It had been basically almost 2 years waiting for it. It kind of got delayed by the pandemic, but um, we can talk more in depth to it. There were some changes that were made from the books, very slight, but definitely for the better. I think the original author Philip Pullman agreed with that. He had a producing credit to this series, and it was just so faithfully done. It was amazing. Um, really tugged at the heartstrings in two very spots. I did a great job of not telling Tina what was going to happen. And when those main scenes hit, she was in tears and she was so
Hot
mad. But
mess.
yes,
Yeah.
she was. So, but she, Joe, by the way, is ready to talk about it whenever we can do something.
Yeah.
Ted, have you seen it too?
No, I haven't. I
Okay.
started. I'm halfway through, so yeah, I
Yeah.
will finish.
I'm also proud of the fact that the US saw this long before UK did because BBC kind of delayed it a bit, so we got the whole season out. But it was such an amazing story, and they tease that because yes, there is another trilogy that um, that Philip Pullman's writing, and he's still finishing the third book.
The
But they at
prequel.
least the prequel. It's a prequel sequel. The first book's a prequel, then 2 and 3 are supposed to be a sequel, but they tease at the very end of season 3 that that's another adventure. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, please tell me they're gonna make it. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
With
So, yeah,
Lyra and Pan. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see.
But before I get to the chat, I want to hear from Maddie. Maddie, what's your top series of 2022?
I have a couple, honestly. I would probably say
She-Hulk.
there's. I would say there's probably three. House of the Dragon was incredible. It was
Yeah.
my first foray into Game of Thrones. I still haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I watched House of the Dragon. Incredible TV. The Bear on FX.
Ah.
Um, Jeremy Allen White, who played Lip in Shameless. Um,
Love
he,
Shameless.
he plays a young chef who's taken over the family business. He comes from like a 5-star Michelin world, but he's running like a cheesesteak place basically. Incredible and also anxiety inducing show. Um, the Offer, which features another actor who was off the movie list in Top Gun Maverick, Miles Teller. It's about the story of how they made the Godfather movie. And so there was a lot of drama involved with that, a lot of actual mafia ties that were involved with that. So those are my top three of the year: House of the Dragon, The Bear on FX, and The Offer starring Miles Teller.
Derby 501 is in the chat, and he has a couple of my honorable mentions. Andor and Cobra Kai. I would say Cobra Kai probably above Andor, just because I don't know how they do it, but when they bring all these people on from all these old movies, it's a surprise every time they bring somebody else out, and it feels like it shouldn't be that engaging of a story seeing these middle-aged people like do karate and these teenagers going through their dramatic, I don't know, lives. But it's fantastic. It's entertaining, and it you're so invested in everyone, and I don't know how they pull this off every single time, but I love that show. It's probably the closest thing to Stranger Things out there. I would say, just as far as like compelling, engaging story. JC doesn't agree. That's why he left. No, I'm just kidding.
Told you it
And
happens at least once. Jesus, man.
and Derpy also brought up something that I even forgot. He says, worst series, because I completely forgot about it, happened last year, was Halo.
Yeah.
Oh, man, did we all
The
dislike
worst.
Halo. And we all had various reasons for it. You're not even going to guess what they are, but wow, just
Well,
unusual storytelling, unusual decision making. Nothing made a lot of sense. There was a lot of fluff in there. There's a lot of extra subplots that went nowhere. It was just bizarre.
Yeah.
look, and if you're still, for whatever reason, on the fence about watching that series, I'll say this: watch the first episode and stop after that, because it's all downhill from there. The first
Yep.
episode was the best episode by
It
far.
was
I think
the first
Jericho
episode
did.
was awesome.
Yes, and then just
Jericho.
stop. Just don't. Trust me.
Yeah.
Just don't. Yeah.
Oh,
Jericho did it right. He didn't even get through the first episode. I think halfway, a quarter of the way or halfway, and he says, "I'm out."
In that first episode, when they went into the action sequences, I loved how it brought you back to the video game. It kind of felt like you were playing a game, and
Yeah.
the show really felt that way in that first episode. And then they went completely off the rails, and it was the most boring thing. Besides, and boring, it's probably the most boring show of the year. And boring takes the cake.
I don't know what that is. What are you talking about?
I don't know if that is it.
Andor.
Oh, Andor?
It's
It was
and
boring.
boring.
Ted. Come on, man. Andor was a tough watch, bro.
No, not Halo tough, but yeah, I mean, not Halo or
It wasn't
Rings
Willow.
or
Oh
Willow.
man.
It's not Willow tough. Let's be
Yeah.
Not
honest.
Willow
Yeah,
tough
really
at
convinced me
all.
to watch all
Episode
the
of Willow,
shows.
dude, and that I'm gonna tell you, Maddie, it went off the rails, dude, with the talking and all that. The language was just horrendous, man. Horrendous.
Yeah.
I
It
haven't
got
finished
worse.
it. Yeah.
It got
Which
worse.
which if you're here wondering when we're gonna finish Willow, probably
Not
next week. We're not
no.
gonna go. We're
We're
not gonna
not.
go episode by
We're done,
episode.
Ted. We're done.
I'm gonna have to stick with
We're
it. I
done.
have to finish it. You
You're on
start
that sinking
something.
ship all alone. You're at the
Yeah.
you're the
I
captain
didn't
on the
even finish
Titanic.
Halo. Don't give me this shit. You have to finish it. Hell no.
You do not have to finish it.
I
It's
have
not a
to.
requirement. It's
It's
not a
bad.
requirement.
I gotta
So
stick
bad.
to my principles. I gotta finish it.
Well, then you can
I
do it
have
alone.
Damn right.
Derpy also says Andor is the best content Star Wars has put out. Yeah, better
was-
than
It
Mando.
was different. It was different.
Better
but
than Mando. Are we off our rocker here? If you like Andor, fine. There's a lot of people who do. I think it was shot beautiful. I think it's a great show. But better than Mando? That's crazy.
I mean, we
Yes.
got a sneak peek at the new season of Mando and the Book of Boba. So
Well, yeah, and they brought in, I don't know, better than Mando. That's tough.
Book of Boba has to be one of the worst series of the year, in my opinion.
They
along
just
with
strayed
Willow.
away from Boba's character, and then they turned it into Mando. Season and a
teaser.
half.
Season 3.
Boba, we
Yeah.
talked about this when we reviewed it. Boba died in the Sarlacc pit. He was reborn. He was raised by those
Tusken Raiders.
Tusken Raiders. Yeah, it was basically Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. It's exactly
No,
what it was.
what they did to Boba is they bastardized him. It was just a hot mess, dude. I will never watch that series ever again.
And then the
He
Mando
was
really
in the
saves the
stomach.
day,
He
and
was in
Baby
the
Yoda
stomach of a
saves the
Sarlacc pit.
day in the Book of Boba Fett. He should have been the main focus of that show.
we had some pretty amazing moments in Book of Boba. I'm just saying, some pretty
No.
epic Star Wars moments.
Yeah, they had to pull the screenwriters in to come give over the Mando secrets from the next season, and then have the Mando writers go in and try to fill in the gaps because Book of Boba Fett was
Book of Boba
slimy.
was so bad, Ted, that they had to put Luke Skywalker in that thing to
They
save it.
had that's the only thing that could have saved it, and honestly, thank God they did because that is one of the most magical moments in
Hey,
TV, not only this year but ever. That
absolutely.
the X-wing pulling in, the tension that was building through that scene. Luke Scott, the deep fake was pretty good. It that was a magical moment. That's a definitely top two, top three moment of the year.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Joe's in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Happy New Year, buddy. Says I'm with you, Ted. Legacy nerds in the chat going, yo. Also, real quick, we're gonna stop the show for Daniel here. Daniel, who just became a dad. He has a new daughter in his life. So congrats to the Legacy Nerd
Congratulations, sir.
family.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I
Uh,
love the Facebook post where the face is just covered with the Power Rangers helmet. Classy move, Legacy. Classy move.
It's fantastic, man. Congrats. Girls are awesome. And there's like way more outfits and merch and like, cosplay outfits to choose from. So you can, your daughter can be a
So more
princess
money.
every
Yeah,
day of the week.
just so more
More
money.
money,
Exactly.
pretty much
Yeah,
more money. But it's a lot of
yes,
fun.
economy.
It is a
Daughters
lot of
are
fun.
God's way of saying that you needed a best friend for life.
Oh,
Oh,
I love that.
jeez, Joe.
I
Fucking
love
I'm
A.
that.
saying, dude. I'm saying, man.
Daddy's
Joe's
not here for
saying,
this emotional shit. Yeah.
Let me find a trash can to puke in.
Joe's saying, "You're not alone, Ted. I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to finish it, and I feel like it'll be a lot like not something else we mentioned earlier, where like it stuck the landing, and I feel like it'll be average after that." He's talking about Willow. Derpy says, "Hear me out. Wednesday is mid, and I didn't even watch the series because I found out what happened, and I fell asleep in the first 10 to 15 minutes." Derpy, you are missing out. Wednesday is fantastic.
Still
It's
haven't
Yes.
seen it, Teddy.
so
Still
funny.
haven't seen it.
No,
It's
it's
so
amazing, guys.
good, and oh
It's
my god,
incredibly funny and also derpy. I love you, bud, and thanks for chatting in. But
thank you, Derpy.
you literally just described yourself as the last person to listen to about what if the series is mid or not. You said you didn't even watch it.
You gotta watch it,
You gotta watch
Derpy.
it.
Mhm.
Your New Year's resolution for 2023 is to watch and finish Wednesday, and I'm
Yeah.
sure. Listen, Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it. If you hear Catherine Zeta-Jones is in a series, you watch it. It's Catherine
No.
Zeta-Jones. That
She's
is
in the new
enough.
National Treasure series, and that is hot, stinky garbage.
She
I
may be
actually
hot
didn't
and
know she
sticky,
was
but
in
she's
there.
still hot. So there's no problem with me.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
I wouldn't mind her being hot and sticky, if you know what I mean. But
yeah. So
Catherine Zeta-Jones is amazing. But I agree, Joe. This National Treasure show is not it. And
Woo.
I love National Treasure, and I am the most anti Nicolas Cage guy ever. But I love the National Treasure movies. This show, oof,
It's up
oof,
there with
my dog.
Willow, dude. No joke. No joke.
Derby says, "Yeah, it's better than Mando because Andor didn't need toy merchandise to carry it and get a season. That's all I'm gonna say." Legacy Nerd says, "Thanks, guys." Derpy says, "Still won't see it. I won't see it. You can't make me. No." And because it's Riverdale and Harry Potter with the Adams family, maybe. But listen, nothing, and I mean this. I mean this with every ounce of my body. Nothing is like Riverdale. Riverdale went so far off what it used to be. It's basically on acid and like every other kind of hard narcotic on the street all at once. I couldn't explain to you what happened to that show. Nothing is like Riverdale. Awesome.
Hard narcotics. There you go,
And
Ted.
you watched
Nice.
Riverdale, Ted?
I watched through like season 4 or 5 maybe, and then I'm just like, nope, I know where this is going. I'm not going to do it, and I just jump ship. It's so weird right now.
Yeah, I don't. I've never watched that show. I'm not about to jump in and see that.
It's it's bizarre. Like it, you know how Matt, you and I, when we were watching Titans, we're like, all right, things are getting weird.
Yeah.
Uh, things are getting unusual and weird here. Riverdale is like that times 10, and it's every single episode, not just like once or twice a season, but like every episode now. It's crazy. I don't know.
Hmm.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much for giving us your top films and top TV series of 2022. I have another question for you, gentlemen, because this is our year in review. And it's basically, what were maybe some of your favorite moments of 2022. I'm going to go first because I know I didn't give you all enough time to kind of think about this. But mine's a pretty simple one, I think. Um, we were again involved with the superhero car show and Comic Con. Our friends who run it, promote it, organize it, and we were asked to do a lot more this time around. We went from just covering the event, doing some interviews on the side, to running 9 panels, and that was probably a highlight of my Geekcast career. And then not only did we run 9 panels, and we're given only about a week's time, and it's not to anybody's fault. It's just kind of how the schedules worked out. But it also ended up being one of the biggest moments in. I know I'm kind of overselling this, but in like comic book, media, news line history, because this fantastic moment was everywhere.
I'm going to go for something that is a little bit different. I'm going to go and put it out in the universe that it is Professor X.
You heard it here first.
Fans have been dying to hear that, I got to tell you. It's not in the bag.
Insane craziness. That's all I can explain. It is an unusual moment because I've already said this to Maddie 1,000 times, but I'm trying to host a panel while I'm also hearing like the biggest news I've arguably ever heard from any actor regarding any Marvel project. Like for him to flat out say, I want Professor X, um, I'm like jumping for joy on the inside. I'm freaking out. I'm cheering, I'm clapping just like all the audiences, but I'm on the stage. So I can't physically do any of those things. So I'm having to like really kind of keep control of myself. All the meanwhile, in my head, I'm freaking out and I'm trying to like hold it all in and keep this panel going. So thanks so much to like those promoters. Thanks to Giancarlo, who was like incredible from start to finish. If you haven't seen the full video of that panel, it's on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. And it was
You
just
always
like,
skip over at this moment because I'm over here to the left of the stage. But Ted, that moment
whoa.
wouldn't have happened. And you say, you were caught up in this, you were caught up in that, it was exciting and all this. You asked one of the most pertinent and important questions you could have possibly asked when he was on that rant. You said simply, pick one. You put him he had to choose then. If you wouldn't have said pick one, it's a big chance that that never comes out.
Yeah, yeah. I took a shot. Took a shot. Didn't think it was gonna. I knew that if I asked a question in a very carefully drawn out way, there's a solid chance he would answer. If I was like any other moderator and I'm like, hey, you want to give us a spoiler or a teaser? Some panel moderators do that because
Hey,
I
do
don't
you
know,
have
they're
any
psycho.
spoilers?
I was just trying to avoid any of those awkward moments and just asking a very carefully crafted question, not to trick him, not by any means, but just to give him a way of answering. You give somebody an easy way to answer it, then they might actually take up that opportunity. So that's all I was trying to do. little did we know, or actually, I kind of mentioned to you, I was just like, this is going to be huge news. And like within 24 hours, number one trending on Twitter under entertainment was
Top
Giancarlo
10 worldwide.
Esposito,
We got to number 7 worldwide,
seven
and
overall and number one in entertainment. Yeah.
it was picked up by every influencer. It was picked up by every major news outlet. This story, and it was on with our watermark from the TikTok video. It was everywhere,
Yeah.
and that is definitely a top moment of the year for sure. And kudos to you, Ted. This is, you know, I would say your entire year has been good, but this was definitely a highlight, and you deserve every bit of it, man.
It was an incredible year for all of us. A lot of it was, a lot of it was just fine tuning. Kind of, we want things to look a certain way. We want the shows to run a certain way. We have all these new people that we're collaborating with. Brett's in the chat right now saying Riverdale went straight up bath salts. And he's not lying. And Brett's even been on the show in 2022. So shout out to Brett for helping us out. We had some incredible guests. We've done more interviews in last year that we've done in any other year. I mean, I talked to not just me, you and you too, Matt. You talked to a actor who played Michael Myers. Talked to another three, I think, actors who played Michael Myers. So all in all, like I last year was just an ultimate year for the Geekcast, and it was just fantastic. So yeah, I can't pick a one that's bigger than the panel with Giancarlo. All I know is it was a major, massive undertaking to sort of plan and prep for those multiple panels, but we did it. We accomplished it. You were there helping out, doing interviews, and AJ was there. AJ Nightwing was taking video, and it was just like
Yeah,
unbelievable. Hopefully,
the
we
Geekcast
get to do more of
takeover
those.
of the superhero car show and Comic Con was awesome.
It was awesome.
And,
Yeah.
and it was a Geekcast takeover. We were in with everybody. I was able to just literally. I wanted to get Ted an autograph because it was the next day after that interview, and it was blowing up. Everything was viral, and had made friends with Giancarlo's handler, and she was like, "Yeah, the story's going great. The story's blowing up." And I was like, "Hey, can you get me an autograph real quick?" I was able to just walk right back into where they were and just like chilling right there with Giancarlo and like all his people, and he was very happy to sign it. I hope you have it up there. I don't see it behind you, Ted. I'm going to ask you about that every single time. Where's that Giancarlo autograph?
I have it right in front of me to the left. It's right it's right here. It's right there. But yeah.
But yeah, no, it was awesome. The Geekcast takeover of the superhero car show and Comic Con is great, and I hope that we can do it again next year. Increase our relationship with Bob and PMX events, and do more next year because it's gonna be hard to top though, Ted. You
It's gonna
should
be
you should have
very
went last. You should have went last. How are we going to top that now? What's our top moments?
I have a bunch of honorable mentions, but I want to go around and ask. JC, I think you had some time to kind of look. What's your top Geekcast or even WrestleCast moment of
I'm
2022?
I'm not I'm not gonna top a Geekcast moment, what you did. But as far as the top WrestleCast moment, it was hitting 200 episodes for sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure,
we did
man.
that last year, which was awesome. So, and that was blessed. It was nice to hit 200 episodes to get a message from Chris Marvel, who was the first interview I ever did for the WrestleCast, and hybrid School of Wrestling still going strong, and pretty amazing stuff. It was so much fun. Mike and Tommy being a part of checking out the Mission Pro Wrestling shows and all that. And then just for me personally on a wrestling level for last year, uh, getting to a live show again and seeing AEW Dynamite twice
Mm.
and seeing what I thought live or in any, and I said this on our year-end awards. Match of the year for me was Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, in the cage at Dynamite at the St. Patrick's Day Slam in San Antonio at the Freeman.
When she won the
Amazing match.
championship? Ooh,
Yes, Russell
my
won.
gosh.
It was amazing match of the year, in my opinion. We did our year-end awards last week, so go check it out if you can. But definitely WrestleCast moment. Ted, when we started the show 4.5 years ago now. It was, hey, we need some content for the YouTube page. I had friends talking about a wrestling show. We just kind of did it on a whim, and Ted sneaking in on our 200th episode, showing the very first episode of the WrestleCast. And that's it. We've always just been, hey, just put a camera, record, and have fun with it. And this time of year, all my old blooper reels pop up, and there's so much fun and just a lot of memories. And I'm glad
I
it's
love hearing
continued.
those stories of the camera not working and the green screen and all
Oh,
that.
geez, watch the very first blooper reel when my cat hit the camera. And if you go back and find the episode, literally hit, I had to cut to like a please stand by and come back to it. I mean, there was actually one episode, probably the best one we ever did, and I didn't hit record. And it was late, and then Tina and I had to record and just do it ourselves
That's how
without
it
telling
always
him.
goes. It's
so
funny with your blooper reels because I was watching some of those, and it actually turns out that JC is not only an aficionado on all things nerd, he has a great '90s hip hop and R&B playlist as well.
Thank you for
JC,
music. Yes. So
JC knows the cuts.
yeah. So it was always fun editing those, but man, I'm so glad I stream it now because God, the video editing and rendering is such a pain right afterward, man. I was so tired. So yeah, the streaming makes it a lot easier, and the fan interaction's a blast. But yeah, so 200 episodes strong. Let's just keep it going, man. It's been awesome. So
I gotta quickly cut in because I was not only did I watch your blooper reel, but I was going and preparing for the segment for today, and how in the world did we ever do the show like we used to when we would meet, or we'd have the green screens behind us, or we would just pre-record everything? I'm like, there's no way we'd have that kind of time these days. I don't know how we were
we
going back.
transitioned. Here's the thing, like we did it pre-record, like we would meet at my house. The first few episodes you were kind of getting it going, and then from there it was just us up and running. And then I had an old PC that I literally could not render hardware. It was so old, it had to render software. It took like 3 hours to render a 1-hour episode.
Oh man.
Yeah, so then I have to upload it the next morning and hope it actually rendered overnight, right? So that was part of the big thing. When I was able to get the money to upgrade my PC and it was hardware rendering, I was like, oh, it's a fucking godsend. But then the pandemic started, and I was like recording through Skype and then adding graphics after that. And that's some of those later, like the 2020 blooper reel, you see a lot of those moments. And then I think in 2021 we just transitioned into the streaming piece, and I was using OBS, and then yeah, it's evolved for sure. I mean, if you go out from the episode beginning to what it is now, it's evolved, continues to evolve. Even when I was doing the editing, I never cut anything. I maybe cut if we had like a technical difficulty, or if we had to stop because one of my kids was crying upstairs. It was one of those things. And oh boy, what are you loading, Ted?
What are you talking about? I don't know what
I
you're
see
talking
something
about.
loading, but oh boy. Yeah,
No,
so you
I was
will
just
see how
gonna,
this has evolved for me. That's really what it's been. So yeah.
it's been crazy. And
Mhm.
our show, like the Geekcast, started as a podcast. Like we didn't get
Yeah.
into video until like a year, maybe year and a half later. And when we started doing video, it was rocky. So this is like episode 36. Me and JC
What is
writing.
up, geeks and geekettes?
Oh, at my
It's
house.
another
That's
episode
right.
of the Countdown to the Geekcast.
This is
I'm
old.
Steady,
I'm JC.
and we're here to talk to you about a variety of different topics today. Number one, you know what today is?
Remember.
The 5th of November. Happy
With those
Kyle Talk
lapel
22
mics that you couldn't hear
people.
shit on either. So yeah. So
Yeah.
Just
I had,
wild.
I had the green screen. I just put a cloth on my wall, and then I just figured it out. That's really all it was, man. Yeah. So
Wild. And I would edit the videos, put in all the overlays, and post editing. It would take hours, and then you'd have to render the damn thing. Like, I have no idea where all this extra time came from. We still
Man, that
had
logo has
full-time
been around since
jobs.
the beginning.
yeah.
It has.
I
for
tell you,
sure.
it's a classic, man. It's an identity. You're like, why
Man,
get
I
rid of
thought
it?
you were just playing, JC. You
No, I told you retro, bro. It's old school. So
were not kidding.
nope.
definitely. Yeah, so it's come a long way. And again, I still don't understand how we had enough time to like drive to each other's houses and like pre-record a 2-hour video.
I'm very thankful for Mike and Tommy all those times to do that, to come over and record. Mandy from the Goods came over and did an episode once with us.
Manny, shout out.
Yeah,
Shout out, man.
shout out Manny for that, and just I think it was a Survivor Series preview one year. He came over and did that too. So, yeah, it was a fun time to do the Rustcast, and sometimes I miss doing that with everybody. We kind of get together, but it's easier now, it with the streaming and stuff, and it's a lot easier now with the kids growing up and stuff. So yeah,
Wild.
yeah.
Let's see. Maddie, we haven't gotten a top moment of yours yet. It also, if I take a guess, it might also include Thunder Rosa because I know you, mostly you, but also I showed up later on. We're having a fantastic time at a taco fest where we were eating and drinking it up with the women's champ Thunder Rosa downtown.
Yeah, that was certainly cool. So those who don't know, my girlfriend's a radio DJ, so she's considered an influencer in these circles, and so she got invited to be at the judges' table for a taco contest, and at her table, right next to her was Thunder Rosa and her handlers. So we were able to really meet and talk. I talked to him about the WrestleCast. I said, Ted, you got to get here now. Ted's always late to everything. Ted's never been on time once, and she's like gonna leave soon. And I'm like, Ted, you need to get here now. And so he finally showed up. So that was a good moment. Nowhere near the top. As far as the Countdown City Geekcast goes for me, the top, because under our umbrella is also Ghost Heads Radio. The top
Yeah.
moment for me of this year is 11,800. What is it? 9,800 toys, $11,723 raised with our toy drive this year. From me being 4 or 5 beers deep on an hour and a half podcast and drunkenly saying, "Hey, we should do a toy drive," to 40 chapters later, a nationwide effort and raising that many toys and that much money for families in need for the holidays is by far the top moment for me of the year. 9,800 toys, $11,723, and all of that came from Ghost Heads Radio. There is a toy drive that happens every year. It always happens very late. It's very disorganized. No offense to anybody watching, but it was. Me and Ted came in way early, months before, and really put this thing together. And it's one of the most proud moments I've had, not only just in my life, but as a streamer as well. And it's definitely important that the Geekcast gets that credit too, because it's under the show, it's under the umbrella, it's something that another accomplishment of the CCG.
I absolutely, sir. And don't forget, 300 pounds of food also goes along with those numbers. So incredible, incredible, and it was like Maddie said, something that we had talked about like 6 months ago, and it slowly kind of gained momentum, and we built it up team by team, adding team after team, 1 week at a time, and it ended up being 40 chapters in 21 different states across the U.S. Coming together for one common goal, and they crushed it. They absolutely crushed it, and we can't wait for what happens next year when we do most likely something similar.
Yep. And this
Uh,
summer, the toy drive, the school supply drive, that's coming this summer.
JC will be happy to hear about that. Let Tina and even Mike. Mike's a teacher as well, so Tina and
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
will be happy to know that we're gonna put together some sort of school supply drive.
I'd love to have Mike heavily involved in that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
let them
without a
know,
doubt.
man.
Yep.
Sure. So
Without a doubt. Brett says in the chat, it was a good year for Star Wars, Andor, Obi-Wan, announcements for upcoming projects, etc. And he also says it was a super awesome moment for CCG. And let's see here. hard to beat the Giancarlo announcement and CCG popping up everywhere. Fingers crossed we see more great moments through 2023. Appreciate it, brother. I appreciate that a lot. And I was even going back through the episodes to kind of, look back at what we did. Our first episode was January 4th of last year, and Brett was on that show. We were talking, I believe, Young Justice was either something we were just finishing up around that time. So yeah,
Mhm.
fantastic, man. Appreciate the comment. Oh man, awesome. Joe, I don't know if you gave your top
No,
moment yet. What's your top Geekcast moment of 2022?
I don't know if it was a moment per se, but one of the things that I enjoyed doing was giving everybody an update when it came to not only creating the graphics and overlays and even the Ghost Heads logo. That was a labor of love because that took forever to finally come up with something that stuck. And even when we were creating that, logo, Maddie was so excited. He's like, and you too, you were like, we're so close. We're so close. Now, if you can only do this and if you can only do that. And lo and behold, we were all able to work together and really make a logo that y'all are really proud of and happy with, and same thing goes for the intro. I say, hey man, we need some content, we need videos and stuff, and Maddie to the rescue. And lo and behold, that was worked out perfect.
Oh, it worked
Absolutely.
out great, and our aesthetics have taken a complete jump. And when I first talked to Ted about coming on to the Geekcast, that was one of my first priorities: is we have to step up the aesthetics. And Joe, you have been there, and it's been a labor of love, though. But you you've done an incredibly good job, and I think all of the brands we've went under a bit of a rebranding almost all the way around, and we're almost done. The renovations are not complete. Pardon the
No.
dust. There's still there's still things to be done. But I love that we're working together and making this professional. Either you can treat it like a hobby or you can treat it like a job. If you want it to make money, you got to treat it like a job. And
Yeah,
so we're getting to the point where it's looking a lot better. And so I definitely appreciate you so much, Joe,
thank
in
you very
getting all of
much.
that done.
I even enjoyed making the intro and everything for JC for the WrestleCast and giving the WrestleCast some much needed updates and love. And even got a little emotional there when I was creating his intro because I saw that the intro in the beginning has the video of Ted and you have your son with you, and there's even Tez, who passed on. And like I
Mhm.
was telling JC, it's always good to include those who have passed on to keep their memory alive. So I was like,
Yeah, that
I
was
tried to do as much as I could, to put everything just right for for JC in the WrestleCast.
and I think that was Royal Rumble, the streaming party we streamed our live
2020.
reaction 2020 right before everything shut down. It was in January that year, yeah. And those Tez and one of the last times I got to see Tez in person because he passed away in December of that year, yeah. So quite suddenly. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was just happy to put that together and something that you all like and giving you all a little update as well. So I just enjoyed creating.
Mhm.
So look forward to continue doing that because we're not done yet. So it's going to be
Yeah.
fun. Again, labor of love for the new logo that's coming up as well. So that'll get done, but it's going to be a process.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And we appreciate all of that, Joe. It's been huge. Half the merch probably in our Redbubble shop, which maybe I'll just talk about for a second here. It has been
Nice transition.
stuff that you came up with. If you haven't seen it in a while, go over to our Facebook page or the YouTube page, and we have links to our Redbubble shop and our latest additions to the shop. We have a Squid Game inspired tee that you can get right now, and there's also a GTA inspired Countdown City Geeks t-shirt that also just went up. Check those out. If you're a fan of the Ghost Heads show, we have the logo out there. Um, Easiest thing to do is actually go down the left side and go through the categories. That way you can see what everything looks like on clothing, phone cases, or stickers, or any other accessories. That's probably the easiest way to do it because you'll just get a variety of things when you get to the page. But we appreciate everybody who's purchased any of the merch. Matty B's got his shirt on right now,
This is one of
and
my favorites of all time. The Ninja Turtles Geekcast shirt on the white is incredible. The next one I really want to get is the Hulkamania one, the Geekcast. But yeah, it's it's good. I can't wait to see that new logo on some of these, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. We're so close again. You know.
so close. So close, so close. Appreciate everybody who's purchased some items. Even Big Mike from the WrestleCast looks
Yep.
fantastic in the new shirt. He's been wearing it out to events, and he loves it. And he's getting a lot of people that are noticing it. So yeah, lots more news coming up later on this month with the WrestleCast. We're not done just yet. And Medrith, I see you in the chat there saying, "Farmer Ted, what's going on? Good to see you." We have our final aspect of the show. It is a CCG segment. I think no, Matt hasn't done many segments. We kind of got away from that after he had already joined. Joe, you might have done one segment, maybe. I'm not exactly sure as well. But this is one that is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to bring it up here. And first off, let me know, gentlemen, if you can hear it.
Yes.
Y'all
Yes.
hear that okay? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to blow it up here. 1 second.
Don't blow it up.
Um,
Just make it bigger.
Need to make it a lot bigger. Let's see here. This way.
Oh, hey
Here.
guys.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please join along in the fun. This is a segment that I love, and I'm bringing it back. Of course, it is. That's what Geek said. That's what Geek said is the trivia show where we have contestants that watch an old Geekcast clip, and they must determine how the clip goes on or what is the next thing being said on the show. Each right answer gets you a point. We need to have a winner by the end, and let's get to it. Clip and question number 1 from episode 183. Here we go. Listen carefully. See what you did there. And last but not least, we call him Thimble. It's Jericho.
Whatever.
All right. Jericho responds to my statement, and he says he had a previous name. I'm going to choose at random here because it's kind of better that I do it that way. But what was Jericho's previous name that we had given him before? JC, we'll start with you just because you're on the top of the pictures I see here. Was it
All right.
A, Thunder from Down Under, B, Hot Pants, C, Sweet Cheeks, or D, Willy Wonka? What's your answer?
It was E. Astros own the Yankees. No, it was probably C. Sweet Cheeks. So
Joe, same question. And through these first few rounds, everybody can match answers. So if you think an answer is correct and it's already been chosen, you can pick it, or you can always go with another one. But Joe, what's your answer?
I want to say it's Sweet Cheeks, but something tells me it's Hot Pants.
And Maddie, this is actually before that you came along for the ride for the Geekcast. You were already on Ghost Heads, but what's your guess on this one?
Looking at that face that Jericho has and that wonderful smile that he has, I think it's got to be Sweet Cheeks. I think I'm going Sweet Cheeks C.
Brett's also in the chat. He's giving it a C. Let's find out.
First it was Sweet Cheeks, now this week is Thimble. Damn it.
nailed it.
No, last time it was Sugar. You know what?
That's true, yeah.
Clip number 2, the Spidey debate.
boy, here we
All
go.
those little discussions. Top 10 things you want to see, and like they just did it all. All right. I'm referring to the elements of No Way Home, the Great Spidey Debate Part 2. If you haven't seen it, it's worth the watch. Go check it out. But Joe, we're gonna go with you next. Rob said they should bring up what after I made my statement? Did he said A, the Infinity Gauntlet, B, Toby's wrestling match from the first Spider-Man film, C, Andrew's Peter Parker's basketball skills, or D, Toby's dancing from Spider-Man 3?
I'm gonna go with Toby's dancing from Spider-Man 3.
All right, we'll go to Maddie next, and I should
That's
be
where
keeping
I'm. That's
that should be keeping score.
that's where I'm going too. I'm going D as well.
Just
You're
Toby's
going D
dancing.
as well. And JC, what are you going with?
Toby's dancing.
All right. I'm making
I miss
notes.
Robin
Right.
Elliott. I really miss Robin Elliott. Because God.
Okay, here we go. Brett's in the chat saying he thinks it's D as well. Let's see what it is.
They should have brought up the whole dancing shit.
The what thing?
Toby's dancing nonsense.
No, we want to forget that. That's the one thing we don't want to see them do. We're not going to talk about emo Spidey. Clip number 3 from the Batman review, episode 190.
But what it was so good. You know, it's almost like when you know you're full.
All right, Maddie compares watching the Batman 2, and I'm going to ask you last, Matt, because you probably already know. So, JC, what does Maddie compare watching the Batman to? Is it A, eating cheesecake, B, drinking Miller Lite, C, eating pizza, or D, taking shots?
Gosh, shot in the dark. I didn't see this one. I'm gonna say eating pizza.
All righty. Joe, same question.
I'm gonna go with drinking Miller Lite. That's all he. That's me and Maddie like drinking some Miller Lite. So if he's gonna reference something, it has to be coming back to Miller Lite.
And Maddie, this is 40 episodes ago. Do you remember what you
It's
said?
A, eating cheesecake.
No.
Eating
Let's
something.
find
Cheesecake or
out.
pizza.
When you're eating the cheesecake, it's great cheesecake. We love the cheesecake. We're and there's just a little bit left, and you kind of push it to the side for a second. You're like, well, no, but you're gonna finish it before you leave the restaurant. That's what this movie was. Like, I got full. I had to get the rest down, but I was gonna finish it, and I enjoyed it.
You had 2 or 3 slices of cheesecake.
Fantastic. Matt's in the lead with 3 points. Episode 200. Brett, I see you, man. Sorry, folks. We got some trolls in the YouTube chat.
Ready to report him?
Yeah, I already did it. Cool. Y'all remember this episode, right?
Yes.
Joe claims Maddie says what after we got bombarded by the spammers in the chat. Joe, you're gonna go last. Maddie, is it A, Geekcast After Dark, B, Where's Jericho When You Need Him, C, Bow Chicka Wow Wow, or D, Now It's a Party? Maddie, what's your answer?
A, Geekcast After Dark.
JC, you're next. Joe claims Maddie says what?
Oh gosh. Where's Jericho We Need Him sounds like a Joe quote, so I'm gonna say Geekcast After Dark.
And Joe, actually, you know what? Legacy Nerd says D. Brett, what's your choice, man? I know you're playing along as well.
Yeah.
Joe, what did you claim Maddie says?
I think it said Geekcast After Dark.
All right, let's go to the clip. And Brett's in the chat. He thinks A. Let's see what it is.
Maddie's saying now it's a party, bro.
Click the link, man. Do not click the link.
Too late. He already did.
Too late.
Look at how excited Maddie was, though. He's like, whoa.
You're right to Pornhub.
Clip number 5, episode 217. Princess Rhaenyra sneaks outside the castle walls with Uncle Damon and reminds us. Oh, that's a trick one there. Matt, you got the point in the last round, right?
No, I didn't. I chose Geekcast After Dark, and it was
None of us did. Legacy and Nerd got
None
the
of you
point.
did. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Right now, Matt's in the lead with 3. JC got 2. Joe got 1. This question is, Steady says, House of the Dragon reminds us what? And this time we'll start with Joe. No. Joe's last. JC, we'll start with you. Reminds us what? Why Maddie likes the show so much? Why we call it Hot D? Why their family has genetic health problems? Or why it's the most expensive show ever?
Let me just say C.
And let's see, Maddie, you are next. What your pick?
Well, D is out because it's not. I'm between B and C, and I want to say, because you didn't like that I was calling it Hot D for a long time, I'm gonna go with C. I'm gonna go with C. I'm gonna think that's a subtle way that Ted would make that point.
Joe, you're last, sir. How would I finish that sentence? House of the Dragon reminds us what?
I would go with C, probably. Why their family has genetic health problems.
Brett's in the chat. He says D. Let's go to the clip. Why their family has a history of genetic health problems. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, everybody got it. Number
But I
6,
do have to
episode
say,
222.
Right. And what other DC projects are going to be out there too?
All right.
Oh.
What were you gonna say, Matt?
I was gonna say no more clips of me without the beard, dude. We talked about this pre-show.
You gotta pay for this the CGI to put the beard back on him like they did Henry.
He's just Maddie. Now that he has the beard, it's Maddie B.
No,
So back then it's
it's not Maddie B.
No, he's
Without
Maddie B now. Back
Maddie.
then he's just Maddie. Yeah.
it's just Maddie. You got to drop the B with no beard.
Yeah, dude. It's just oof. Anyways,
JC,
I remember this episode a little bit.
I think I remember this one.
Hold on. What other DC Comics project does JC say he wants to see? Joe, we'll start with you first. Is it A, Lobo, B, Harley and Clayface, C, Power Girl, or D, the Wonder Twins?
Knowing JC, he's gonna say A, Lobo.
Maddie B, you're up next. What is the other project JC wants to see?
He said it was D, the Wonder Twins.
And JC, you might remember this. What is the other DC project you wanted to see?
Pretty sure it's A, Lobo, but definitely wouldn't mind seeing Power Girl either live action. Just throwing it out there. So
let's see what JC says. And if you're in the chat, here's your Brett says
Maddie
no
Light.
beard. Maddie was Maddie Light.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it. No beard.
Nailed it.
Oh man, that's
Maddie Light. That was Maddie Light.
Yeah.
And Brett says A. Let's see what it is. Roll the clip.
By the way, if you mentioned the whole Clayface thing, if it's not Harley Quinn, Tyler Clayface, thespian stuff, I'm not. Oh, that's right. I did say that.
Oh, because of the animated show.
Yes, the animated show is so good. I forgot about the animated series.
Final clip, the Wakanda Forever episode.
My history with Namor as a character.
We were joined by Tommy, and this is a fantastic question. Right now, the leaderboard is Matt 4, JC 3, Joe 2. I can't have a tie, so unfortunately, no matching answers on this one. Joe, you're gonna go last on this one because you're in the shot. But let's see. JC, we'll start with you first. What is Tommy's history with Namor? A, love him. B, hate him. C, never read about him. Or D, written fan fiction of him.
It should be D, written fan fiction of him.
Maddie, you are next. You get your choices are
this is
B,
crap.
or C.
I was gonna pick D.
Look, Ted, it's the NFL. We can say there's ties, right? It's not the playoffs yet.
D is the answer. He wouldn't have let it up into that without it being D.
I will let the answers. Okay,
Yeah.
if you want to match answers, that's totally fine. So they both picked D. Brett's in the chat saying C. And Joe, what's your answer, sir?
I'm gonna go with D because I think I remember this, and he did write fan fiction because Tommy likes to write, and I believe he said written fan fiction of him.
Yeah.
Let's see here, Tommy, wherever you're at, Shout out to him. Fantastic episode. Let's go
That
to the
was a
clip.
good episode with Tommy. I love Tommy's energy and that smile, dude. Tommy's
Tommy
on.
has
I
the
hate
best
Namor as
energy.
a character. He is the most irritating Marvel character to me because
He hates him.
I've never seen a guy lose more often than Namor and still walk into every room like he commands it. And I'm like, I tell everyone, I was like, I can't think of one Marvel character Namor has not lost a fight to. I cannot name one. I think Doctor Doom is friends with him simply because he's like, I pity him at this point. He has taken more L's than anyone. You know what? I'll be your friend, bro. Because good God, I don't even lose to Reed Richards as much as you lose to everybody. So.
Thanks everybody for playing.
Shout out to Tommy, by the way. He's gonna be hosting the WrestleCast tomorrow. So
Shout out, Tommy.
That's what Geek said. And congrats to our first time winner, Maddie B. Congrats, sir, with 4 points. Maddie, the floor is yours. Who would you like to thank for this honor?
I'd like to take a moment to thank myself and my big brain. But no, I've gone back and having been new to the Geekcast, I wanted to catch some history, so I've went back and watched a lot of the episodes, so I was pretty confident in myself coming into the game. I practiced hard, played hard, and luckily me and the guys, we came out with a win today.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Gentlemen, thanks for playing. I've been wanting to bring back this segment because it's probably my favorite. It's just so great to go back and watch what shenanigans we got into, and you forget a lot of the things that happen. You forget the spammers that come into the chat. You forget when Moon Knight jumped in our chat that one episode when we were talking about Moon Knight. Yeah, all great moments. Thanks to everybody for a fantastic 2022 year. Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Ted, aka Steady. With me is a man, myth, legend. You know him as JC.
Thanks for watching and listening. Catch the WrestleCast tomorrow. We're previewing Wrestle Kingdom 17, and Tommy will be hosting.
We also got the man behind the magic. You know him as Joe Garcia.
Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. And also make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And I got to share my screen because this was one of my favorite moments of this year, and it was of Jericho.
Oh, man.
The time that he froze on camera and he stayed like that for I think it was a couple of minutes, dude. This is classic. I love this. I need to put this on his shirt and send it to him.
Shout out to Jericho wherever he's at. I hope he gets to play the game on his own. I'll remind him to go play it and see what he gets. And then last but never the least, my partner in crime, you know him as Matty B.
Another can crushed. Another excellent show from me and my cohorts. I mean, my gosh. 2022 was an incredible year. I see 2023 to the moon. The rocket ship is prepared to leave. And so I think that we're going to have an awesome year. And thanks to all the support from everybody involved. And make sure you go to Redbubble, get some shirts. This one's fire.
Check out the shop. If you have trouble finding the link, be sure to message us. Brett says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and the fam as well. And he says, remember, kids, don't consume too much Matty Light. Do not. Too much for the kids is dangerous. Thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe. And I will tease, we do have a big announcement coming next week. So tune in next week to the Geekcast. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good night, everybody. Happy New Year.